Watching the film, our guys competed. They played hard. Great first half, great first 20 minutes. I think what Tim in Nebraska wanted to do was kind of just go up and down, press us, and make it an ugly game, which it turned out to be. But both teams scored a lot of points, which is not to my liking. I wanted to get stops. So we'll continue to work on that. The goal is still the same. Continue to get better today, get better in practice. We'll have a great film session. Shorten up practice. We're shortening up practice right now, late February. Really just want to get to what we need to work on. And then just keep building off how we're playing. I think we're playing good basketball. And Illinois is playing good basketball. They really are. What he's done, Brad, from the first part of the non-conference into the Big Ten season is just miraculous. He's done a great job of keeping those guys believing and keep getting those guys better. They play fearless. They got really good guards, great big men, a lot of talent. So it's going to be a great challenge at 12 o'clock on Saturday.
Got to double check the dates to be absolutely sure, but I'm pretty sure this is the latest that you've ever played a team the first time around that you're going to play twice. Is there a challenge playing a team for the first time way late in the year? Or does it not make a difference?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I would say playing them so quickly, I mean, it was like Purdue, I guess, but it's kind of bizarre to play them in the last 2 weeks of the season. We could have spaced that out a little bit better. But I'm not the scheduling person for the Big Ten. But we look forward to going to Champaign.
And what have you seen them do well? Because it seems like they're a team that's scoring just in bunches in some of these games. What do you think you have to do against a team like that?
Got to take care of the ball. I watched the first 10 minutes of last year's game, and they kind of jumped us. I don't know if you guys recall that. They were up some points, 6 or 8 points early. And we finally adjusted to the speed of the game. And how they play is a little bit unique. It's not like anybody else in the league. They play top shoulder. They're above their men. You really can't run offense. You really got to just rely on your concepts and rely on your habits of just driving the ball and making plays and second cutting, things of that nature. And then offensive rebounding is going to be big for us. So I don't think it's going to be a 15 to 17 assist game. I think it's going to be more under 10. But as long as we take care of the basketball, that's where they score in bunches like you're talking about, Ben. If we can limit it under 12, I like our chances.
You touched on this after the game the other day. How much is what you're doing defensively translating over to some of the offensive success that you've had of late?
I've been writing on the board, defense dictates offense. I think that's why Josh Reeves plays so well at Ohio State, because he's on the top of that press. I think we're speeding teams up. Therefore, Jamari's getting some steals. I think Jamari's playing one of some really good basketball. Other than Purdue, I think he's really been a great leader and getting in lanes and really causing some major havoc. Him and Josh are doing a great job in that regard. And I think Bolton, his defense has gotten better. And I think he's starting to show his speed. I think we got speed and athleticism because he can get up as well. So I think the defense that we're playing right now to slow teams down and to turn them over is really starting to help the offensive end because you're getting open shots and some high percentage layups.
And outside of foul trouble, what dictates when you go without a true five-man?
I'm going off feel. I'm going off gut. Michigan was more strategic. There were certain lineups that I wanted to go at. I wasn't crazy about it in the Nebraska game, but I went with it, and it turned out to be a really favorable for us. I went with it at Purdue, and it wasn't so favorable for us. So this will be the same way. It's always good because I look at Lamar like a guard. It's always good to have 5 guards on the court, specifically this Saturday, with the way they play and how they're going to pressure the ball and pressure us. So it might be the best lineup for us.
Rozier mentioned that smaller lineup after the game the other day, and he said just about the speed that lineup possesses, and he said how much he enjoys playing alongside Jamari. And obviously Josh and Miles and Lamar are all pretty good shooters as well. What do you think that lineup does for you guys offensively?
Yeah, it's harder to guard us because of Ross shooting over 40 in the last 5 and actually shooting over 50 in the last 5. Miles is shooting over 40 in the last 5. Lamar just made a couple now. Now we're a little bit harder to defend. And Josh last 5 is right around his 35% range. So now who are you going to help off of? Now there's open space, there's open floor. And you got to worry about Lamar. You have to. And you better start worrying about Jamari because he's becoming a very good offensive rebounder. And he's making, 5 assists, 1 turnover the other night. I mean, if he duplicates that Saturday, that's going to be big time for your point guard to only have 1 turn. So I think that lineup really presents mismatches for our opponents.
And specifically this Saturday, do you expect to do you think that could be the recipe, I guess, Saturday against a team like Illinois that has a pretty talented backcourt?
It could be. I want to give a lot of credit to their big man. I don't want to butcher his name right now and disrespect him. But, man, he is so talented and tough. Really, I don't know where they found him, but he is really good. And we got to worry about him. I mean, their guards are really good. But if you watch that Rutgers game, I mean, he dominated that game. When you have 37, 35, I mean, he dominated that game. They went to him every time. So we have to pay close attention to him. And not just the guards. They got a good team.
When you see what happened with Zion last night, you guys are a Nike school. Do you look at the model of shoe that he's wearing? I'm serious.
Are you serious?
No, I mean.
I appreciate you asking.
We saw that happen with DJ, I think, in 2012.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he wasn't hurt. But I think, our coach is actually taking a look at that and wondering, are my kids wearing this model of shoe?
I'll look into it now that you've asked. I just think Zion is a specimen. And, he went to cut hard or jump stop. And, just his foot came out from underneath him and, sneaker smash. But you're right. It did happen to DJ. And it really opened up. Actually, Cappy and I talked about it this morning. But I feel really confident in Nike and their shoes. And, to have one issue in however many years it's not too bad.
You look at the Michigan game and the pressure that you put on them before they got across midcourt. How do you decide a game where you want to play what you do most nights versus maybe adding something in that you guys have done the pressure before, that press before, but maybe for not that long? How do you decide which games you want to do something that's maybe a little different and outside the norm versus maybe we're just going to play our scheme straight up?
It really comes down to the game plan and how the team's going to attack us. And foul trouble can also play into this. How hard we're playing could play into this. Where I think we are mentally and physically. Because when you play the three-quarter court, as long as we did against Michigan and some of these other teams, that wears you down. That wears you down. So we got to be really smart with when we use it, how long we use it, the lineups we use it with, and is it the right thing to do against Illinois? Is it the right thing to do against whoever's next? So that's going to really determine what I do.
And I imagine you won't like this, but we know James talked to Saquon before the year began, and sort of they had conversations over the course of the year. Where are you and Lamar and Mike in terms of just being on the same page of?
We're all on the same page. We're all on the same page. Lamar's doing great in school. We're going to talk again after the season. But I feel really good about Lamar and his future here at Penn State. I do. Mike, Mike is a one day at a time. So, it's a work in progress, as I always tell you guys. So we'll sit down at the end as well.
How do you think Mike is doing? I mean, it seems like he has his moments. He, for my money, played pretty well the other night, and then
for his money.
For my money.
We're not allowed to gamble, Ben. All right. Obviously, he's got more than you and I.
The $2. I mean, how do you think that process is going? Because it seems some nights that he's right there where he needs to be, and other nights, for a myriad of reasons, maybe he isn't. Is that just? Are we looking too much into how he's doing, or is that just him?
I think that's who he's going to be right now. Unfortunately, we're going to see how he plays. And if he's playing well and he's energized and into it, he's going to play longer minutes. And if we feel like, he's struggling a little bit, we reduce his minutes. I thought Michigan, he was fantastic. I thought it was the best 15 minutes he's given us in a long time. And I'm watching the Illinois game from last year, and he gave us some really good minutes. Got in foul trouble in the first half, but gave us great minutes in the second half. Really energized, really bouncy. And I think I thought I saw that at the end of the Michigan game. So hopefully, as I know there's only 5 games in the Big Ten tournament left, and who knows after that. Hopefully that appears and becomes a little bit more consistent.
Is he as receptive to all of that as he once was? Because I'm sure when you tell him the plan a couple months ago, he's like, sure, I'm going to play. And then you go, a couple months later, and he's still sort of in and out. Is he still down with it?
He's down with it. Everything. Mike keeps showing up. Mike keeps working hard in practice in the weight room. He's going to class too. He's doing all the right things. Again, it's one day at a time.
How does the red shirt situation work in hoops now? I'm sorry that I don't know this because I probably
No,
should.
what is it? A third of the season or less? I think it's a third or less. Or is it 7 games or less? I don't want to put a number on it. I'm almost positive.
Specifically in it's not like football.
Okay. I'm asking because you played Danny,
Yeah, I played DK. Yeah, I played him.
and so there's
No,
shot.
there's no chance to redshirt.
And what's the balancing act there because he's not played a lot of basketball for you?
Yeah, you know what? He's going to have a chance to play on the Russian national team this summer, and we're all for that. And I think he should do that and get game experience and play against all those men. And I mean, he's just going to continue to get better by doing that. I think that was the best thing for him. And when you're playing as many young guys as I am, I didn't think we had enough opportunity really to redshirt anybody, because if somebody got hurt or something happened, we were going to need everybody to really step up. And we've gone 10, we've gone 11, we've gone deep into the roster. So I just didn't feel like this year was the best year to do that.
In his pregame routine, it looks like he gets out there and shoots for a half hour or more. What's behind that? I guess is my
Yeah, he's trying to get better, and he's doing a great job. There's a group of guys that are not seeing a ton of minutes that are showing up for early lifts, which is just awesome. And I said that on Fox the other night. I just said, look, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, they are more in than anybody. They're showing up for lifts. They're getting extra work in. DK typically, if he doesn't play after a game, he's in the gym getting extra shots up. I didn't tell him to do this. He's doing it on his own just to stay ready, because he knows what John Harrow went through the year before. John Harrow stayed ready, and then you saw what happened. So DK wants to be ready.
Illinois statistically is one of the worst defensive teams in the conference. How do you think your offensive performance against Nebraska maybe is a positive sign, and you can build off that against an Illinois team that really hasn't defended teams that well? I mean, if you look at the field goal percentages, I think teams are shooting about 45%, I think, against Illinois.
You know, a totally different game, totally different. The style of play is more of a West Virginia, although they're pressing, but not as much as West Virginia did early in the season. But they're going to be up their line, and they're going to force you into turnovers and back cuts. They might blitz you sometimes. They might not blitz you. I mean, he just throws the kitchen sink at you and tries to keep you off balance. He does not want you running one play. And once you figure that out, because it took us 10 minutes last year to figure it out on the road there. Hopefully we figure it out a lot sooner on Saturday, that we just have to build off our concepts, and we might not run a play, and that's okay. But understand, taking care of the ball is vital.
And on a different note, how much have you been in contact with Shep? Obviously, you guys are busy with the season, but he's in his first season of the G League with the Drive. How much have you been contacting and keeping up with him?
You know what? It's been a couple weeks. Usually he and I text. Up until January, we were texting a lot. We actually FaceTimed. He was awesome, and he's really enjoying the experience. He's having a good time. He's getting better. I think there's an assistant from Philly, so he feels really good about the program and the staff. But he's having a great time, and he's been real supportive. I know he talks to our guys all the time to keep them upbeat, to keep them moving forward.
And how much does that allow you to talk to your team and say, look, Shep wasn't always a guy that was thought of that maybe could play at the next level, but he turned it on late senior year, played some really good defense, shot the ball well. How do you use that as a method to get your guys, look, if you play hard and compete and you follow what we're trying to do here, you can get to that next
Well,
level?
I'll go back to the statistic where we're 7th in player development. You know, that's something that we talk about. I think ESPN did that. We talk about if you buy in and you put the work in, because it's really you. It's about you. It's about Shep. It's about Tony. It's about how hard you're going to work. But we have all the resources that you need. We've got a great staff, great strength coach, a guy that's into nutrition, a great trainer who's going to keep you fresh mentally and physically. And you add all that up, and I think that's why you're top 10 in the country in player development. And I think it speaks volume what Shep's doing. And how he's doing it. And I'll even go back to Tim Frazier. Tim has started some games, hasn't started some games, played 25 minutes some games, 31 minutes some games. Talk about keeping a great attitude in what he's trying to accomplish. It's pretty amazing. So we can draw upon those experiences. Thanks, guys.
Do you have anything? No?
So you're not always going to shoot the ball as well as you did the other night. I'm just curious, when you went into practice, maybe for the first time after the Nebraska game, did you try and hammer that point home, or what was kind of the first thing you guys worked on?
I'm going to take you back before Nebraska's practice, okay, or before the game. I had a gut feeling that we were going to shoot the ball well because that practice we shot lights out. And not saying that we didn't on certain other practices before games, but this game specifically, the ball was going in quite often. So that tells me fresh legs, fresh minds. We're in a good space. And I had a feeling, other than the first couple of minutes where we missed some shots early, and then it started to open up for us. So I gave them off yesterday. It was all about academics yesterday. So I'm going to see them for the first time here. But it always goes back to our identity. And that's the two most important things, improvement and identity right now. So improve today and focus on defending and rebounding.